Hello everyone and welcome to the channel as usual. In today's session we'll be tackling some academic vocabulary. And academic vocabulary isn't used very much in everyday English or in street English, in other words, but it's more specific to situations relating to academia, university studies, and being at college. So let's get straight into it right away. When you say the subject of something, if you talk about the subject of a certain talk or the subject of a certain speech or of a certain article, the subject is the thing or the topic which is being discussed, considered, or studied. For instance, we say, she wrote an article on the subject of classism. Classism is the fact that you have different social classes in any society, and usually higher social classes look down on the lower ones. So the subject of something is the topic or the thing being discussed in it. That's a little bit slightly different from the theme of something. The theme of a piece of writing is the main subject of it. For instance, you say, the theme of the poem is immigration. We talk about themes in the sense of books, novels, poems, and so forth. So usually when we talk about themes, we talk about the main subject or the main topic discussed by a certain piece of writing. Another word is issue, which is spelled I-S-S-U-E. In American English, this word is pronounced issue, but in British English, in addition to that pronunciation, in some areas they pronounce it issue. Issue. An issue is a problem which people are talking about or people are thinking about. For instance, we can have this example to highlight the word. There was a lively debate. There was a lively debate on the issue of globalization in the seminar yesterday. Again, there was a lively debate, which means a hot debate, on the issue of, on the problem of globalization in the seminar yesterday. Also, when you talk about the word principle, a principle is a basic idea or a basic rule which explains how something happens, operates, or works, how something functions. For instance, an example to underscore the meaning. Human behavior is based on the principle of least effort. Again, human behavior is based on the principle of least effort, meaning that people are wired, people are designed naturally to avoid making much effort. They try to make the least amount of effort in order to reach the results they're seeking. Another word is the word hypothesis. A hypothesis is an assumption. That's a very academic word that you wouldn't find in everyday contexts. So an assumption is academically described by the word a hypothesis. This is spelled Hypothesis, and in the plural we change the last suffix. Instead of being sis, we make it ses, and the pronunciation becomes sees instead of sis. So in the plural we say hypotheses rather than hypothesis. Okay, also another important word is the word significance. That's another academic word. When you say about when you talk about the significance of something, this means its importance. For instance, we say the significance of exercise to fight diabetes. Diabetes, that's a very prevalent disease all over the world. It's the inability of the body to control the blood glucose, which means that the person needs to take medications to tackle or to combat this issue. When you talk about the significance of exercise in combating or in fighting diabetes, this means the importance of it. Right, another word is the word approach. Approach here as a noun rather than as a verb. Approach as a verb means get closer to somebody or something. You move in order to be near to them or close to them. But approach as a noun means the way of dealing with something, your methodology, your way, your style. For example, after COVID-19, schools adopted a new approach in teaching. After COVID-19, when we were in the lockdown, everyone was staying at home. So schools had to adopt a new approach in teaching, which is distant learning or online teaching. Right. Another word which is quite academic in its sense is the word perspective. Perspective, that's spelled P-E-R-S-P-E-C-T-I-V-E. T-I-V-E. Perspective is your viewpoint, is your standpoint, is your opinion about something. So when we say your perspective towards students is different to mine, which means that your way of dealing with them or the way you see them, the angle from which you see them is distinct, is different, is not similar to mine. So your perspective on something is the angle from which you see it, is how you see it, is the image of that thing or of that person in your eyes. That's another important word. Another academic noun or academic word which is prevalently and widespread use is the word assessment. Assessment is a word that's similar in its meaning to evaluation. Evaluation is judgment of something, deciding on its importance, its quality, its amount, its value. It's some sort of an estimation of something. So the assessment of the students or the assessment of the pupils is divided into many avenues, let's say. So we have continuous assessments, we have assignments, we have quizzes, we have monthly exams, we have end of term exams and end of year exams, and so on and so forth. So the assessment of the pupils or the assessment of the learners is their evaluation, is deciding how good they are, the value of their knowledge, the quality of their information, and so on. So the assessment of something is its evaluation or the judgment of its quality. Another academic noun is the noun identification. The Americans pronounce it identification without pronouncing the T, because Americans usually in pronunciation, when there is a T after an N, they do not pronounce it. So instead of saying international, like how the Brits say it, they say international. Instead of saying an interview, like how the Brits say it, they say an interview. So identification or identification, the identification of somebody or something is the ability to establish their or its identity or identity in American English. So his poor eyesight made it difficult for him to be able to make identification of objects or identification of people. So he cannot identify the people or the things in front of him because of his poor eyesight. The last point which I'd like to stress or highlight here is about the word research, because we're talking in the context of academic English in the arena of academia. So the word research is widely used. It's a very prevalent term in academia and in university or college life. Be careful that the word research is uncountable, meaning that you cannot pluralize it. You cannot make it plural. We don't say researches. It cannot be plural. We can say research studies. That's fine. Study is countable. You can pluralize it by saying studies. You can say pieces of research, because the word piece is a partitive and it can be pluralized normally. So you can say pieces of research. And you cannot say researches. And the verb which collocates correctly with the word research is do research. You do not make research. Make research is a wrong collocation. We do research instead. So the right verb to use is do rather than make. For instance, you say they carried out some interesting research, not some interesting researches. And by the way, carried out is a phrasal verb which means performed or executed or conducted. They did some interesting research, pretty simply. And here we come to the end of today's session about some key words, key nouns in academic English. I hope it was useful for you. And as usual, I look forward to our next session. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.